A few weeks ago, I somehow managed to injure my wrist, and for those of you who have been at the channel for a while, you'll remember that I also managed to hurt my elbow a while ago. Both of these injuries managed to impact my workouts. However, I haven't let that slow me down. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Tyler Warlow, and I make videos on things I wish I knew when I was younger. All these videos focus on how to improve your life through your confidence, capabilities, and overall happiness. In today's video, I figured that I would briefly discuss how I continue my exercise routine despite being injured. One quick caveat that I want to give is that I am not a medical professional. You should always listen to the advice of your doctor, and any decisions that you make are your own. These are just things that have personally worked for me, and I hope that provides some value to anyone who might be listening. Now that we've got that covered, if this sounds interesting to you, let's go ahead and jump into the video. So the first thing that I'm going to recommend that you do is get the injury evaluated by a professional. That means a doctor. And usually when you get injured, your best course of action is to go to an urgent care, so that way they can evaluate you and help you realize what type of injury it is. Personally, when I've gotten injured in the past and gone to my primary care physician, they've ended up just redirecting me to the urgent care to go get evaluated there. And it ended up costing me some extra money. And then whatever advice that your doctor gives to you, make sure that you actually listen to them. These are medical professionals that know the best way for your body to heal itself. So you actually want to heed your doctor's advice. Don't be stubborn and try to push yourself through an injury, which will end up causing you to get injured even more. I know plenty of people who have done this, which ended up causing them to take much more time off of their exercise/gym routine, so that then by the time that they were finally able to come back, a lot of things were impacted and they kind of had to start over to a degree. So get the injury evaluated and listen to your doctor's advice. Now, with both my wrist and the elbow injury I had a while back, overall, these injuries were relatively minor. The wrist, I'm still able to move for the most part. It just unfortunately can't bear any weight in any sort of twisting motion. So any weight that I do put on it has to be perfectly in line with the wrist. And with the elbow, it was a bone contusion, so it was bruised. I was in a sling for about 2 weeks and then still needed to rest it for about 2 weeks more. So overall, these weren't drastic injuries, which is going to lead me into my next point. If your injuries are minor, there are things that you can do to maintain your exercise routine in the gym. If an injury is relatively minor, you're going to want to apply the R.I.C.E method in the first 24 hours. R.I.C.E stands for rest, ice, compress, and elevate the injury. You want to make sure that you rest the injured body part. Next, you're going to want to make sure that you ice the body part only for about 20 minutes at a time throughout the day. You can cycle this from 4 to 8 times, but really the main intent of icing the injury is that you're going to be reducing the swelling a little bit. Next, you're going to want to compress the injury. Typically, this is done by using some sort of adhesive bandage that you can wrap around the injury pretty tightly. This is going to further serve to help reduce the swelling. And finally, going in conjunction with the resting part of this acronym is you're going to want to elevate the injury so it's above the heart. So with the ankle, generally that means lying down with your leg up on a pillow or something. With my wrist, it's fairly easy to just have my arm up on something so that it's up above the heart. This helps blood to move downward and prevent it from pulling in the injury, which again helps reduce the overall swelling. Now, it used to be thought that you want to apply R.I.C.E throughout the injury to help promote healing. However, recent research has pretty much fairly debunked that and shown that if you continue to do this throughout the term of the injury, that it can actually slow down the healing process. This is because when you are consistently doing these items, you are preventing blood flow to the injury, and which is really what you want in order to promote healing. Inflammation of a minor injury usually will bring that blood to it. So If you're consistently numbing it with ice and reducing the swelling, you're preventing blood from getting to the injury. So that's why you want to try and keep rice to around the first 24 to 48 hours, depending on your doctor's advice. But once you've gone through those first 24 to 48 hours, you're going to want to start slowly moving and working on the injury to continue moving it and keeping it active. I've done this now both with my wrist and my elbow at the advice of my doctor, and this helped to speed up the healing process. By continuing to slowly move and test the limits of your injury, you're going to be helped bring movement to the injured area, which will also bring blood, which will then promote the healing process. If you don't continually move it, then the joint or the injured area can actually get fairly stiff or weakened, which can make the injury take longer to heal overall, because when it's stiff, you'll then feel pain when you do go to finally move it. By consistently maintaining some movement in the injured area and testing the limits of the injury safely and slowly, it's going to help promote that healing process. Again, do this at the advice of your doctor, and any decision that you make with this is going to be your own. Generally, as the injury starts to heal, you can start doing your normal movements just at lighter weights than usual, and as it continues to heal, you can continue to add your weight back. This was particularly helpful for my elbow, as it helped me to maintain my strength through my bench press and some of my other movements like shoulder press, while the injury was healing, and I was able to slowly build back to the weight that I was doing before without much issue. Now, just because you have a part of you that is healing, it doesn't mean that you can't continue to work out, which is going to bring me to the next tip, which is continue to work out the uninjured parts of your body as the injury allows. Again, my injuries were fairly minor and they were maintained to one side of my body, so there were a couple different things that I could do. First off, my entire lower body was still completely able to work out as normal. So I could do any leg exercises that didn't involve me moving my elbow or wrist, which is pretty much all of them. So I was able to continue doing my leg exercises. On top of that, you can continue to do any unilateral movements, which is essentially just a fancy way of saying that you can still exercise the other side of your body that isn't injured. Now, I personally wasn't able to do several of my heavy compound lifts when I had the injured elbow, but I was able to use machines for isolation style exercises on the right side of my body. So I was able to do an incline chest press, a shoulder press, things of that nature. But what I personally recommend here, and this is going to be up to personal preference, is that while your injury is healing, that you just focus on maintaining your current level of strength and size rather than trying to build on it. Because if you don't focus on just maintaining, you're going to end up with some asymmetry most likely to a degree, whether that's in strength or size. Again, that's personal preference, but I personally want to try and keep my body as symmetrical as possible. So I just focus on maintaining my current level of strength on the one side of my body. And then when my injury is done healing, I bring it back up to that same level of strength, focusing on maintaining it on the one side, and then once they're at the same point together again, that's when I start focusing more on growth and size increases again. Again, personal preference, but I personally think that it works and looks the best this way. You can also look into other types of exercise that you'll be able to do while having the injured body part. For instance, with my injured wrist, I'm still able to do my cardio like running and cycling, and I can still do a lot of stretching movements because it really doesn't involve my wrist at all. So that way you can continue to stay active while doing other types of movement. Now, my final piece of advice here is going to be make sure that you focus on rest. If you're continuing to push yourself to the same extent that you were previously, then you're likely going to feel yourself getting very tired. This is going to cause the injury to then heal slower, which is then of course going to take you longer to get back to your normal routine. Some ways that you can focus on resting and healing your body is making sure that you you get enough sleep. It is a very common problem nowadays that people aren't getting enough sleep in the first place to rest and heal in between their workouts, but especially when you have the injury, make sure that you're trying to get 8 or more hours of sleep, as this is going to help promote healing in your body. Most of the healing that takes place in our body happens when we sleep. So the more of it that you can get while you're injured, the faster the injury is going to heal. Next up, you're going to want to make sure that you're maintaining a good level of calories and eating healthy and balanced meals, because this is going to help give your body even more energy to dedicate towards the healing process. Finally, take any advice from your doctor as necessary for things that you can do to promote rest and healing of the injury. Like I said, they might give you some mobility exercises, they might give you some massages to do on the area. So listen to your doctor and implement the things that they tell you for helping to rest and rehabilitate the injury. But that's going to bring us to the end of today's video, y'all. If you found the information to be helpful or informative at all, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel to join me along in this self-improvement journey. If you have any of your own thoughts, ideas, or opinions, let me know with a comment down below, because I like to read each and every one of them. If you're interested in more videos like this one where I talk about health-related topics, be sure to check out this video right here where I talk about the warning signs of burnout. If you're interested in more of my most recent stuff, be sure to check out this video right here. But until the next time, this is Tyler Warlow, signing off.